There's the key thing about an AI-first economy and world is that you're going to have a rise in cyber threats. So think of a chess game where you have attackers and you have defenders. And the attackers just got this supercomputer, and now they can think 18 steps ahead. They can think about these moves that are non-intuitive, and the attackers are going to have more sophistication. So when can the defenders sort of catch up? So that's the question of the pendulum swinging when you have these new technologies.
Who are the pawns in this, then, since we're using the chess analogy? Is it us, the humans?
Oh my gosh, it's so us. So let me give you an example, right? So I'm a CEO, and we've got CFOs. Like, you can take my LinkedIn profile, like my videos, my podcasts, and you can reproduce me. You can make something
that.
Oh man, and it's out there in social media. You have people that you can reproduce me, my voice, my mannerisms, most of my history, and that's an attack. So how do we as this impersonation increases, how do we defend against that?
You can see me taking a moment to process this, because I think about the negative consequences of that. Obviously, like when you talk about the digital twin, that sounds great, but the negative is like when we see someone duplicate us across social media, and then you're trying to reach out to the social media platform. Someone has duped me. Can you take this down, etc. And it doesn't always happen. So how can, say, governments balance the need for, because there's not a lot of regulation around AI yet. Do you expect that? Do you expect that to happen this year, or is that something that seems to be further down the line, and is the responsibility on the governments or on the corporations to police themselves?
Yeah, I think it's complex, because you have the value exchange between the end user or the staffer or the customer on what do they get in exchange for these AI services. And in some cases, you're like, well, you get the free version, but in the free version you're going to be training our product. And what is the proper value exchange, and where does that go to sort of out of bounds into the extreme case? And then I think there's a number of levers before you get to regulation. There's transparency. There's platforms like Reddit and X that will call people out if it's like, well, this is did you read the fine print?
Right.
And then you've got sort of like the threat of regulation, which is a conversation that can come from governments to these big techs. And then if that doesn't work, then you actually have the regulation. So I think there's a lot of different levers to keep the systems on the rails, but there's a lot of risk.
Okay, and I know we led into this talking tech, but I do want to keep our focus on AI, especially because that is where tech really is nowadays.